I'm Frank Henderson, 57, a retired insurance adjuster from suburban Atlanta, and I'm about to tell you why YouTube tutorial videos are the most dangerous invention since the self-help book. My wife Martha always said I had more confidence than skill, but I was determined to prove her wrong. It all started on a lazy Saturday morning when I stumbled upon a DIY bathroom renovation video. The host, a charismatic 20-something with perfectly styled hair and a tool belt that looked like it cost more than my first car, made tiling look absurdly simple. "Anyone can do this," he proclaimed with the confidence of a motivational speaker. I'd watched Martha roll her eyes 100 times when I got these brilliant ideas. Our bathroom had been the same shade of outdated beige since 1987, and I was convinced I could transform it into a modern marvel. The YouTube guru demonstrated each step with surgical precision, removing old tiles, preparing surfaces, applying new ceramic tiles. Piece of cake, I muttered to myself, already imagining Martha's surprised face when she saw my handiwork. My first mistake was believing that watching 3 YouTube videos made me a professional contractor. My second mistake was thinking my 30-year-old tool set from Sears was equivalent to professional equipment. My third mistake? Well, that's where this entire disaster begins. I started by purchasing materials from Home Depot. The young sales associate tried to offer advice, but I waved him off. "I've watched the tutorials," I said with a knowing smile. "I've got this under control." Martha's warning echoed in my head. "Frank, please don't turn this into another garage shelving incident." The garage shelving incident was a story for another time. Let's just say it involved 3 broken drill bits, a collapsed shelf, and a very expensive visit from a professional handyman. But this time would be different. This time I was prepared. I had YouTube, determination, and a burning desire to save money on professional renovation costs. Little did I know I was about to embark on a renovation journey that would test the limits of my marriage, my sanity, and the structural integrity of our 1960s suburban home. As I unpacked my new tile cutter and spread out my carefully purchased materials, I felt a surge of excitement. How hard could this really be? Oh, if only I knew then what I know now. The first crack appeared approximately 37 minutes into my renovation masterpiece. And by crack, I mean a substantial fissure that looked like it could swallow my entire toolbox. My tile cutter, which had looked so precise on YouTube, seemed to have a mind of its own. Instead of clean, straight cuts, I was producing ceramic fragments that looked more like abstract art than building materials. The tutorial guy made it look so easy, a smooth, confident motion, tiles separating like butter. My attempts resembled a drunk woodpecker's attempt at precision. "No problem," I muttered, sweating slightly. "I can work with this." Martha walked by, paused, looked at my work, and without saying a word, walked away. That silent treatment? Worse than any verbal criticism. By noon, my simple bathroom renovation looked like a crime scene. Tile fragments everywhere, a growing pile of failed cuts, and an increasingly uneven surface that seemed to mock my every move. The YouTube tutorial conveniently forgot to mention how difficult it is when your original tiles were installed during the Reagan administration. My secret weapon was going to be my nephew Rick, who worked construction part-time, a term I would soon learn meant occasionally and not very professionally. I'd promised him $200 in beer to help me finish the project. When Rick arrived, his assessment was brutally honest. "Uncle Frank," he said, picking up a particularly jagged tile piece, "are you sure you know what you're doing?" I channeled my inner YouTube master. "Absolutely," I proclaimed, hoping my confidence would somehow transform into actual skill. Little did I know this was just the beginning of what would become the most expensive, most ridiculous home renovation in suburban Atlanta history. By day 3, my bathroom looked like a ceramic apocalypse had struck. Rick, my so-called construction expert nephew, had a peculiar approach to renovation that could only be described as controlled chaos. "We need to remove these old tiles completely," he announced, pulling out an industrial-strength jackhammer from his truck. I should have been suspicious right then. A jackhammer for a bathroom renovation? Martha's voice echoed from the kitchen. "Frank Henderson, what in God's name are you doing?" The first swing of the jackhammer was surprisingly satisfying. Chunks of old beige tile flew everywhere, creating a cloud of dust that would make a desert storm look mild. What I didn't realize was that each swing was also creating microfractures in the wall's structure. "Hey, Uncle Frank," Rick called out, munching on a massive ham sandwich. "I think we might have a small problem." Small problem in Rick's vocabulary typically meant major catastrophe. The wall behind the tiles looked less like a solid surface and more like something that had survived multiple earthquakes. Cracks spiderwebbed across the surface, revealing what looked suspiciously like water damage, and possibly some very enthusiastic termite activity. "How long has this been like this?" Rick asked, suddenly serious. "Probably since we bought the house," I mumbled, realizing we were way beyond a simple tile replacement. By the end of the day, what started as a $500 DIY project had transformed into a potential structural nightmare. The bathroom now resembled a war zone, debris everywhere, exposed wall studs, and a growing sense of impending financial doom. Martha's silence was more terrifying than any explosion. I knew she was calculating exactly how many vacations, golf clubs, and retirement investments this simple renovation was about to cost us. Rick, ever the optimist, opened another beer. "Don't worry, Uncle Frank, we can fix this." Those words, I would soon learn, were the most expensive 6 words in home renovation history. By day 5, our bathroom renovation had become a neighborhood spectacle. Professional contractors started showing up, not as helpers, but as curious observers, like scientists examining a rare catastrophic specimen. Bob Peterson, the local building inspector, walked in and let out a low whistle. "Frank," he said, "I've seen tornado damage more organized than this." Rick tried to look professional, wiping sandwich crumbs from his shirt. I noticed Bob's eyes calculating the potential structural damage with a mixture of professional concern and barely concealed amusement. "Mr. Henderson," Bob announced officially, "you're going to need a full structural assessment. These walls, well, they're not exactly what I'd call load-bearing anymore, more like load-surrendering." The estimate arrived 2 hours later, $25,000 to repair what I thought would be a simple $500 tile replacement. Martha's reaction was nuclear-level silent treatment. She wasn't just mad. She was contemplating divorce lawyers and real estate listings. How does a YouTube tutorial turn into a complete home reconstruction? I muttered to myself. Rick, ever the optimist, opened another beer. "Look on the bright side, Uncle Frank. At least we discovered those termites before they ate the entire house." Some bright side. The neighborhood gossip mill was working overtime. I could already imagine the conversations at the next HOA meeting. "Remember Frank Henderson, the guy who tried to renovate his bathroom and almost demolished his entire house?" Professional contractors began arriving like a SWAT team, measuring, assessing, shaking their heads. Each measurement seemed to add another 0 to our potential repair costs. "You're lucky," one contractor told me, "that the house is still standing." Barely. Martha's silent stares were becoming increasingly murderous. I was pretty sure she was mentally calculating how much it would cost to replace me instead of the bathroom. The YouTube tutorial guy who made this look so easy, conspicuously absent during our home reconstruction crisis. 3 months and $37,000 later, our bathroom was finally complete. Not by my hand, not by Rick's expertise, but by a team of professionals who looked at our initial destruction with a mix of professional horror and barely concealed laughter. Martha had gone from murderous silence to a new level of marital communication, strategic sarcasm. "Next time you want to save money," she'd say, "maybe we'll just burn the cash in the backyard. Might be more productive." The neighborhood had transformed our disaster into local legend. Barbecues, HOA meetings, even the local church potluck became venues for retelling the Henderson bathroom catastrophe. I was now famous, or infamous, for all the wrong reasons. Rick, true to form, continued to see the bright side. "Hey, at least we discovered those termites," became his go-to explanation. as if discovering potential home destruction was some kind of positive achievement. The new bathroom was beautiful, gleaming tiles, perfect grout lines, modern fixtures, everything I had imagined, but achieved through complete professional intervention and a significantly lighter bank account. I learned something, I told Martha one evening. YouTube tutorials are to home renovation what WebMD is to medical diagnosis. Dangerous in the wrong hands. She actually laughed. The first genuine laugh since this entire disaster began. My final tally: original budget, $500. Actual cost, $37,000. Marital strain, immeasurable neighborhood reputation, permanently damaged YouTube tutorial trust, 0. As I stood in our perfectly renovated bathroom, I realized some lessons are expensive. Some skills can't be learned through a 10-minute online video, and some projects are best left to professionals. But would I do it again? Absolutely not, Martha said, reading my mind. Some stories end with wisdom. Mine ended with an empty wallet and a standing invitation to never touch a home improvement tool again. The end.